Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you, Sister Preeti, for giving me this opportunity to talk to all of you about something that I'm very passionate about, and that is healthy lifestyle. And thank you, Dr. Shivani, for introducing me to Sister Preeti and to this meditation center. So today we will talk about lifestyle, what is a healthy lifestyle. And as Sister Preeti mentioned, that we all need to take care of ourselves. You know, self-care is so important. And in this day and age, when we are, working, juggling work and family, and there's stress everywhere, we often forget to take care of ourselves. And especially as women, because we have a lot of women audience here, we tend to prioritize, the health or the family before us. We tend to give more attention to them. And what is more important is that we take care of ourselves, because if we are not fit, we are not healthy, we will not be able to take care of others. So like when you're flying somewhere, in the flight they will announce, the first thing they announce is ऑक्सीजन का दबाव कम होने पे मास्क गिरेंगे and पहले अपना मास्क लगा लीजिए. And the first time I heard it, the first thought was, that's a bit selfish, And I remember my daughter saying to me that, मम्मी अगर ऐसे होता है तो आप पहले मुझे मास्क लगाएंगे ना. And the idea behind that is that if you are not fit, you will not be able to take care of others. So it is very important, just like putting the mask on yourself first, you take care of yourselves, and then you will be fitter to take care of others. So that is what self-care and self-love is. So we'll just define what health is, because again, ये काफ़ी misconception रहता है. There are some sort of ways in which we look at health, we think about health. So most of the times when we look at somebody, and somebody who is thin or in shape, we think that person is healthy, right? News में काफ़ी बार आता है कि फलाना celebrity had a heart attack, or actors है, जो actresses है, who look very fit, who are in good shape, and then they have a heart attack or they die suddenly, and we think अरे ये तो बहुत fit था, what happened? So it cannot be that somebody who's healthy can just die like that, unless they have an infection or an accident. They cannot suddenly die. So these people who die, who seemingly look fit, are not actually healthy. So that is very important to understand, because हर बार ये ऐसा कुछ news में आता है. I get a lot of calls from friends and family and saying, they fear that if that can happen to this person who was so fit, it can happen to me as well. And they think, people are just dying, but no, they are not healthy. There will be some underlying health issue. कुछ heart का problem है, काफ़ी लोग smokers रहते हैं, so they are not healthy people. So what do we mean by health? So health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. कि ये नहीं है, जैसे हमने देखा actor, I don't want to name, but who committed suicide. He's not healthy. He's not mentally healthy. Somebody who can commit suicide is not mentally healthy. So that is not just that they do not have diabetes or high blood pressure, but that there should be mental and physical well-being as well. That sense of well-being has to be there. And if we maintain a healthy lifestyle, we can lead a life full of meaning and purpose. So just briefly, what do we mean by non-communicable diseases? कि जो communicable diseases होते हैं, those are the ones which are caused by infections. जो you treat with antibiotic, थोड़े दिन बुखार आता है, antibiotic दे ठीक हो जाते हैं. Non-communicable diseases are the ones जो काफ़ी अरसे तक चलते हैं, जो chronic है, slowly linger करते हैं, जैसे hypertension है, diabetes है, 2 दिन में तो जाने से रहे, वो चलते रहते हैं. You will have to take medicines maybe for lifetime. And these sort of diseases cause about 71% of the global deaths. So that's a huge disease burden and a huge burden on the society, and generally, that's 70% is a huge number. And in India, about 56% of the total disease burden is because of diet. And what is this? What is the unhealthy diet? We are eating highly processed food, which is high in fat, high in sugar, high in salt. Yeah. So because of this unhealthy diet, we are having all the diseases. Now this figure is quite high, and it's very shocking as well. But if you look at the positive aspect of it, we can actually prevent 56% of these diseases by just making lifestyle changes. So let's not look at it negatively. This 56% is in our hands, and we can prevent those diseases by just making small shifts in our lifestyle, by following healthy lifestyle. So I'm going to talk about the 6 pillars of healthy lifestyle. Okay, nutrition और physical activity के बारे में हमें सबको पता होता है. We all tend to focus, but what is often neglected is stress management and sleep. ये दोनों को काफ़ी बार neglect किया जाता है, and just like we saw in the earlier video about cortisol, inflammation, stress, बहुत ज़रूरी है कि ये stress management हम करें. Also social connections and avoiding risky substances like tobacco, alcohol and all of that. Now I won't focus on the social connections because in India we are okay with social connections. I think we have lots of relatives, festivals chalte rehte hain one after the other. As a community we all come together. Now I have a whole bunch of ladies here from my community who are here to support me. So I think we are okay in terms of social connections. But do reach out to people when you need help, and ek dusre ka sahara bano, ek dusre ko help karo. That is what is more important. So when we focus on nutrition, I'm not going to talk in detail, but I want to focus on one food, and this is not a type of diet. This is not like keto diet or watermelon diet or falana diet. This is just a way of eating. कि ये हमें follow करना है. Most of the sort of your eating pattern should be this, and what it means is that you eat natural, whole, which is unrefined. ऐसे नहीं है जैसे white rice is completely refined. There's no nutrient left in white rice. So when you eat white rice, you're just eating calories. You're not getting any nutrients at all. So you eat brown rice or millets, jowar, bajra. So these are minimally refined grains and millets you have to include in your food. And plant-based. So most of your food has to be in the form of fruits and vegetables raw as much as you can eat, nuts and seeds, and avoid animal products, which also includes milk and milk products. And this diet has been shown, this type of eating pattern has been shown to improve health and increase longevity. So it increases your lifespan as well. Now Indian Council of Medical Research and National Institute of Nutrition, which is in Hyderabad, they have designed this My Plate concept. And as you can see in the picture, what that means is half of your plate has to be fruits and vegetables. This is how your lunch plate should look like. Not itna bada sa rice and then choti si do sabziyan yahan. That is what most of our lunch plate, Indian lunch plate look like. So there has to be either raw salads or fruits or vegetables, green leafy vegetables, whatever it is. So half of the plate has to be that, and then the major other part has to be 1/4 has to be grains. Again, as I said, not refined grains, but brown rice, quinoa, millets, jawar, bajra, whatever. And then 15% of the energy requirement has to come from the proteins. And for vegetarian people, there are lots of sources of proteins like beans. All beans will give you proteins. You have soya, some of you do consume milk and milk products. So those all can give you enough proteins in your diet. Nuts and seeds as well. And the rest should be nuts and seeds. So please include these in your diet. And when you include all these things, when you pay attention to all of this, you do not actually need any extra oil in your food. Okay, Indian food तो हम पका ही नहीं सकते बगैर oil के. We can't cook anything. More oil, the more tastier is what we believe, isn't it? So we do use a lot of oil, but wherever possible oil कम करना चाहिए consumption. हमें extra oil की ज़रूरत नहीं है. We don't need to cook. We can eat raw and still be okay. We will get enough fatty acids from the rest of the food. So हमें oil की extra oil की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Okay, so minimize that. So we all know about protein. हमें protein के बारे में काफ़ी चर्चे होते रहते हैं. Men, even women and teenagers gym में जाते हैं. They are working out. Everybody wants to build muscles, and most people then consume protein powder because they think कि अरे Indian diet में protein कम है. And in the newspapers as well you hear all these things कि Indian diet is deficit of protein. So everybody is focusing a lot on protein. But today I want to focus on fiber as the important component of our diet, which is very often overlooked. And what do you mean by fiber? Fiber is the non-digestible part of plant foods. सो जो चीज़ डाइजेस्ट नहीं होती हमारे स्टमक में, सो व्हेन यू ईट एन एप्पल सम पार्ट ऑफ इट विल नॉट बी डाइजेस्टेड इन योर स्टमक, इट विल गो ऑल द वे डाउन टू योर इंटेस्टाइन. एंड वहाँ पे क्या होता है, समथिंग विच इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड इज़ द buzzword in the medical field nowadays is the gut microbiome. Okay, तो गट माइक्रोबायोम जो हमारे गट में, लोअर गट में, जहाँ पे इंटेस्टाइन्स में there are microbiomes, small microorganisms, millions and millions of microorganisms which actually digest the food for us, and that is where the fiber is a food for these microorganisms. And these microorganisms are actually they are responsible for our health, and health in the sense of even mental health, because they secrete, so the serotonin is secreted there, our immune system is there. So what is the food for this gut microbiome? So we are not eating fiber, apples and bananas for ourselves, we are eating it for the gut microbiome, because the gut microbiomes are going to feed on those foods and they are going to maintain the health for us. You know, ये जो हम कभी कभी बोलते हैं बटरफ्लाई, गट में बटरफ्लाई वाली फीलिंग आती है, यू हैव अ गट इंस्टिंक्ट. सो गट ब्रेन एक्सेस करके एक होता है, जो योर गट, योर मतलब जो गट है आपका, इंटेस्टाइन है वो, एंड ब्रेन आपका कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं. सो इवन मेंटल हेल्थ इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन हाउ हेल्दी योर गट इज. एंड देन पीपल हैव फूड सेंसिटिविटीज़, ब्लोटिंग, ये डाइजेस्ट नहीं होता या जो भी चीज़ें हैं वो, दैट इज़ बिकॉज देयर इज़ अ प्रॉब्लम विद द गट. द वेरी अदर इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इज़, जो हम एंटीबायोटिक्स लेते हैं, वो एंटीबायोटिक्स हम क्यों लेते हैं? कि हमें बैक्टीरियल इन्फेक्शन हो जाए, उसे किल करना है, हमें बैक्टीरिया को किल करना है जो हमें इन्फेक्शन दे रहे. बट दैट सेम एंटीबायोटिक डजंट डिफ्रेंशिएट बिटवीन हेल्दी बैक्टीरिया एंड बैड बैक्टीरिया, सो इट इज़ किलिंग योर गट बैक्टीरिया एज वेल. सो हम जो हर इन्फेक्शन के लिए एंटीबायोटिक लेते हैं, दैट इज़ किलिंग अवर गट बैक्टीरिया एंड दैट इज़ डिस्ट्रॉइंग अवर गट बैक्टीरिया एंड दैट इज़ कॉजिंग मोर प्रॉब्लम्स. So the other importance of fiber is insulin sensitivity improve करता है. जैसे कि किसी को डायबिटीज़ है या प्री डायबिटीज़ है, तो जैसे हम खाना खाते हैं उसके बाद जो ब्लड शुगर में स्पाइक होता है, तो वो स्पाइक्स रिड्यूस करते हैं. सो अगेन फॉर डायबिटिक्स, प्री डायबिटिक्स, इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ फाइबर इन योर डाइट. दैट विल रिड्यूस योर ग्लूकोज स्पाइक एंड दैट विल मेक यू हेल्दियर इन सेंस ऑफ द इंसुलिन सेंसिटिविटी. कोलेस्ट्रॉल को बैलेंस करता है एंड मेक्स अस फील फुलर. ओके, इफ़ यू लुक एट द कैलोरीज, मोस्ट वेजिटेबल्स आर वेरी लो कैलोरीज. आप क्यूकम्बर लो या टमाटर लो, ऑनियन लो, दे आर वेरी लो इन कैलोरीज. सो से यू हैव से 20 किलो कैलोरीज पर 100 ग्राम. आप 500, आप हाफ किलो अगर सैलड खा लेते हो तो आपको सिर्फ 100 कैलोरीज मिल रही है. और एक आप समोसा खाओगे तो आपको कितनी कैलोरीज मिलेगी? यस, 250 to 300. एंड हम एक समोसे से तो बंद नहीं कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज बहुत टेस्टी होता है. तो हम 2 समोसे खाते हैं, तो हमने 2 समोसे खा रहे हैं और फिर जलेबी भी खानी है उसके बाद, तो हमने तो 2 समोसे और जलेबी में 700-800 कैलोरीज यूँ ही खा ली. ओके, एंड वी on an average we need about 2000 calories agar if we are working out and doing some work. If we are just sitting down, we don't even need those many calories. So you can imagine how much bad, those bad food, how much calories they give in. Whereas you eat half a kilo salad, which is a lot, आपका पेट भर जाएगा, you're getting 100 calories maybe. And that is why it is very important. And the way I sort of, जब मैं coaching करती हूँ patients को, तो the focus is not, we don't even count calories because it's very difficult to calories. आपकी बैंगन की सब्ज़ी और मेरे घर की बैंगन की सब्ज़ी will have different calories, right? What, depending on what oil I use, how much potatoes I put in it and all of that. So the way to do it is have salads. If you want to lose weight for all sorts of things, have a whole bowl full of salad. It is not going to give you many calories at all. You don't need to count even calories for that. Okay, so that's why fiber is the most important thing. Another very important slide is sugar by any other name will still be sugar. You call it jaggery, honey, whatever it is, they are all sugars. Please remember this. If you have to make a sweet dish, yes, substitute the white sugar with the jaggery or honey or what. जो कभी-कभी, yes, we have to live and we have to enjoy life, but don't be under the impression कि मैंने तो sugar नहीं खाया है, because आप sugar खा रहे हो. जैगरी इज़ 95% शुगर, 5% आपको कुछ आयन वायन थोड़ा यहाँ वहाँ मिल जाता है, वो तो आप कहीं और से भी खा सकते हो. सो यू डोंट हैव टू, पीपल थिंक वो मैं जैगरी खा रही हूँ, हेल्दी खा रही हूँ. नहीं, वो आपको आयन के लिए या जो भी थोड़े उसमें माइक्रो न्यूट्रिएंट्स है उसके लिए आपको जैगरी खाने की ज़रूरत नहीं. यू हैव टू ईट जैगरी इन अ लॉट ऑफ क्वांटिटी टू गेट द आयन दैट योर बॉडी माइट नीड. ओके, सेम विथ हनी एज वेल. 70% ऑलमोस्ट शुगर है उसमें, यू नो. सो यही चीज़ होती है. दूसरी चीज़ है, जैसे मैं अभी रिसेंटली आई विजिटेड माई पेरेंट्स एंड माई फादर बिकॉज ही नोज आई एम लाइक वेरी हेल्दी एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. सो माई फादर गॉट दिस नाइस यूनिबिक के बिस्किट्स लाए, शुगर फ्री बिस्किट्स. And I read the labels always. I don't get fooled by this sugar free, fat free kind of thing. You turn the biscuit around and you see the ingredients. What does it have? It doesn't have sugar because उन्होंने तो बोला है sugar free है, तो sugar तो डाल नहीं सकते. They have put maltodextrin in that, which is another form of sugar, and they have put sweeteners in it, which again is sugar, isn't it? I mean, they are, and these are all processed. उसमें से सारा मतलब there is no nutrient value to that. It is just pure sugar. ओके आप टेस्ट के लिए खा लो बिकॉज आपको अच्छा लगता है, स्वीट अच्छा लगता है, बट दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो डोंट गेट फूल्ड बाय ऑल दीज फैंसी टर्म्स एंड द मार्केटिंग गिमिक्स दैट मोस्ट कंपनीज यूज टू से कि अरे ये शुगर फ्री है, ये फैट फ्री है. सो द अदर पॉइंट इज़ रीडिंग द लेबल्स. आप हमेशा पीछे देखिए कि क्या इंग्रेडिएंट्स है उसमें. होल व्हीट ब्रेड, ब्राउन ब्रेड जो बोलते हैं उसमें भी मैदा ही रहता है मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स. You know, companies are not, they don't have that much of integrity कि वो लिखे वहाँ पे कि क्या है, उन लोग क्या डाल रहे हैं उसमें. So be very aware of all these things. So this is, it may look like a complicated slide, but इसमें all I want to say here is the red is the saturated fat, and saturated fat is what is responsible for, you know, blocking our arteries. It is responsible for your high cholesterol, causing hypertension, stroke and all of the other disease. Now दो ही चीज़ें इसमें देखनी है. आप घी एंड कोकोनट देखिए. कोकोनट हैज़ द हाइएस्ट क्वांटिटी ऑफ सैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड्स. योर कोकोनट ऑयल इफ यू आर यूजिंग फॉर कुकिंग हैज़ द हाइएस्ट क्वांटिटी ऑफ सैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड, and your ghee has the highest quantity of saturated fatty acid. Now in lot of other you know, special like Ayurveda for example, they suggest eating ghee and you know it's healthy. Coconut oil भी काफ़ी लोग कहते हैं. It may be healthy, but the health benefits can be gotten from other foods, because if you have a high risk of high blood pressure or you have a family history, you do not want to eat so much of saturated fatty acid. Saturated fatty acid is one of the worst, other than sugar. That's one of the other bad ingredient that is there in the food. So you need to avoid that. So just be careful about this. And again, these are the foods that can cause cancer, and this is from the Cancer Research and WHO classification. So if you eat processed meat, that will cause cancer. That causes cancer. End of story. It causes cancer in the long term. If you are consuming it over a long time, that is grade 1 carcinogenic. It means that it will cause cancer. Most of the time it's colon cancer or other cancers. And then there are the grade 2 ones कि आप beef, pork, lamb खा रहे हो. Red meat is another carcinogenic. So please limit, if you cannot avoid, limit the use of this. Obviously sugar again and saturated fatty acids will cause all sorts of cancer. Alcohol is also again grade 1 carcinogen. There is no safe amount of alcohol. ऐसे नहीं एक glass एक दिन में पी लिया तो ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं है. Any amount of alcohol that you drink will affect your health in the longer run. If you drink it over a long period, it will help. It will affect your health. So what are the do's and the don'ts? Eat a variety of fruits and vegetables. Fat requirement, as I said, you don't have to add fat cooking oils as such. You don't need them in your food. You can use steaming, you know, grilling, boiling, other types of things. And avoid bakery foods because they have trans fats. You know, जो what do we call that, डालडा, जो हम पुराने ज़माने में डालडा बोलते थे, vegetable oil, सारा you know सारे cookies, biscuits में वही सब चीज़ें रहती है. Please avoid. If you can't avoid, minimize the use of those things. And combining grains. So when we think about, again for vegetarians, when they think about कि protein की कमी मिलती है, so when we think about foods, when we think about rice for example, we predominantly think of rice as a carbohydrate, as a carb, but rice में भी protein होता है. सारी चीज़ों में ये सारी चीज़ें रहती है. So when you combine them together, when you eat dal and rice, you get all the proteins. Okay. So again, what is also important is what we do. Limit portion sizes. हमें रोज़ पेट भर के खाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है कि इतना पेट भर गया कि और एक दाना नहीं खा सकते. We don't have to eat that way every day. ठीक है, आप कहीं जा रहे हैं, शादी में जा रहे हैं, कहीं बाहर खा रहे हैं, and it's you want to eat more, but daily you have to avoid. Sahara Hachibu is a Japanese concept जिसमें you eat till you are 80% full. पेट भर के मतलब हिल नहीं सकते, इतना नहीं खाना है रोज़. that is how you limit your portion size. and जो plating method दिखाया, आप प्लेट कर लो और उतना ही खाओ जितने आपके प्लेट में है, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं खाना है. कि नहीं जा जाके 2 बार ले रहे 4 बार ले रहे, ऐसे नहीं, छोटी प्लेट लो, उसमें भर लो, जितना खा सके उतना ही खाना. Late night, avoid snacking, sugary beverages again. Again, salt intake is very important, especially for those who have high risk of high blood pressure or family history, or for all of us for that matter. And 1 teaspoon, 1 छोटा teaspoon per day is the daily recommendation. आप पूरे दिन के खाने में एक आदमी के लिए 1 teaspoon is the salt that you should eat. Okay. And the way to do is, if it's a family, if you're family of 4, आप एक 4 स्पून्स एक छोटे कटोरी में 4 स्पून्स डाल के रख दो और दिन भर में आपने वही यूज़ करना है, उसी में से खाना, लंच डिनर ब्रेकफास्ट सब उसी में से बनना है. दिस इज़ मोटा मोटा वे ऑफ मैनेजिंग, अदरवाइज हाउ विल यू नो हाउ मच यू ईटिंग. ओके, सो दिस इज़ वॉट यू हैव टू कंट्रोल. नो एडिंग सॉल्ट ऑन द टॉप ऑफ योर व्हेन टेबल सॉल्ट यूज़ नहीं करना है. यूज़ ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ स्पाइसेस, हर्ब्स, टर्मरिक, जिंजर. इंडियन फूड इज़ सो गुड. Nowadays you are getting curcumin, which is turmeric के अंदर जो चीज़ रहती है, curcumin के tablets मिल रहे हैं लंदन न्यूयॉर्क के एयरपोर्ट्स पे. We have turmeric, we have it in our kitchens, we use it in our dals. Please use lots of herbs and spices and read the food labels, just I said. Now coming to physical activity, physical activity can be any form of structured activity. मतलब आप जो दिन में काम कर रहे हो घर में ये वो तो ठीक है, बट सम फॉर्म ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर रख के आप कभी वॉक को चले जाओ, स्विमिंग कर लो, जिम में चले जाओ, योगा कर लो. सम फॉर्म ऑफ फिजिकल एक्टिविटी इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड टू मेंटेन, अगर आपका वेट ठीक है, आपको कोई इशू नहीं है, तो आप 150 मिनट्स पर वीक करना है, आपने वो डिवाइड कर लेना है. जैसे आपने 20 मिनट्स पर डे कर लिया फ्यू डेज़, तो वो आप वीक के लिए डिवाइड कर सकते हैं. बट इफ़ यू वांट टू लूज वेट, यू आर ओवर वेट, यू वांट टू लूज वेट, यू हैव सम मेडिकल कंडीशंस, then you should at least exercise for 250 to 300 minutes per week. Okay. And moderate intensity में आपका हार्ट रेट थोड़ा बढ़ना चाहिए. ऐसे नहीं कि आप आराम से स्ट्रोल कर रहे हो बगीचे में, उससे आपकी कोई कैलोरी बर्न नहीं होने वाली है. So your heart rate has to be a bit faster, your breathing has to be a bit faster, कि आप बराबर से बोल नहीं पाओगे सेंटेंसेस में कि वो लेवल का इंटेंसिटी होना चाहिए आपका. एंड स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग, स्पेशली अगेन फॉर women and those above 40, स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग इज़ एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट. इट नॉट ओनली बिल्ड्स योर मसल, हमें डोले शोले बनाने नहीं है, बट इट ऑल्सो इम्प्रूव्स योर बोन हेल्थ, इट मेक्स योर बोन्स स्ट्रॉन्गर. सो बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग भी करो. कमिंग टू स्लीप नाउ, again we have so many things on our mind, and then we have Netflix, and then we have ये हैदराबाद में तो IT जो इंडस्ट्री में द वर्किंग पैटर्न्स जो है उसकी वजह से सबके द सर्काडियन रिदम जो रहता है, जैसे सनराइज एंड सनसेट का जो रिदम हमारे बॉडी का ओरिजिनल रिदम है, वो हम फॉलो नहीं कर पाते फॉर वेरियस रीजंस. तो स्लीप इज़ अनदर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर, एंड it is very important for rest and repair. So 7 to 8 hours in a 24-hour a day, we need that much sleep. Okay. And if I ask you, where do हम जब जिम जाते हैं, people are going to the gym to build muscles. So when do we build muscles? We don't build muscles when we are actually in the gym. We build them when we are resting. In the gym we are just stretching them. It's causing those ऐसे micro, imagine जैसे micro cuts हो रहे हैं हमारे muscles में when we are gymming. बट उनका रिपेयर कब होगा? उनका रिपेयर तब होगा जब आप सोओगे. व्हेन यू विल स्लीप, व्हेन यू विल टेक एडिक्वेट रेस्ट, योर मसल्स विल रिपेयर देन. जैसे ऑफिसेज रहते हैं कि सब चले जाते हैं, 6 बजे बंद हो गया, देन द क्लीनर्स कम टू क्लीन, कुछ रिपेयर वर्क है, कहीं खीला लगाना है तो बाद में आ जाते हैं जब ऑफिस खाली. Similarly, when we sleep, when our body is resting, all the repair work and the cleaning work is going on in our body. So it is very important to rest. And obviously for all these things, your mood, functioning, memory, all sorts of things, sleep is very, very important. And some of the lifestyle changes which you can adopt is avoid fatty and spicy food near, especially for your dinner. Have a very light dinner. Okay, sugary foods you avoid in the night. Coffee, 6 hours before sleeping, avoid coffee again. And some of the foods that can improve your thing is nuts, walnuts, almonds, बनानाज, ओट्स, टी. आप कोई जैसे फैंसी वाले टीज़ जो आजकल मिल रहे हैं वो ट्राई कर सकते हो. एंड एक्सरसाइजिंग, बट नॉट बिफोर बेड टाइम. इफ़ यू एक्सरसाइज ड्यूरिंग द डे, यू विल बी टायर्ड एंड यू विल फील रिलैक्स्ड एंड यू विल स्लीप वेल इन द नाइट. अवॉइड अल्कोहल एंड मेडिटेशन एंड स्ट्रेस रिलीव मेजर्स. ऑल्सो आजकल के ज़माने में समथिंग विच इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज स्विचिंग आवर फोन्स. You know, the blue light exposure, we are either on our laptop, iPads or phones all the time. रात को सोने के पहले तक देख रहे, देखते देखते ही सो जा रहे हैं, you know. So it is at least an hour before bedtime we should switch off all our electronic devices, because the blue light that is emitted from there is not good for us. And also कि जैसे natural rhythm जो रहता है, जैसे पुराने ज़माने में जब lights नहीं थे तो the way the things is, sunset हो जाएगा तो everything should calm down, you know, you should actually ideally go back to sleep, but we have all these fancy lights all around us, so that doesn't allow us to naturally sleep. So we have to shut the lights, calm down, you know, make the room nice and calm and cool, and try to, main is to shut our phones off, you know, because that's the most important thing. And coming to stress management, obviously stretch, जो video देखा उसमें, that was all about cortisol. So any form of stress will release cortisol, adrenaline and cortisol, which is the stress hormones. And the stress hormones are important, they are not bad. Okay, that is the fight and the flight response जो आप लोगों ने सुना होगा, जैसे पढ़ा होगा कभी. तो that is कि हमें when there is stress, when there is some stressful event, our body is ready to fight. जैसे पुराने ज़माने में जो हंटिंग में जाते थे कि टाइगर आ गया तो भागना है, you need that. If you don't have that stress, you'll just stand there like a, you know, like a fool, and the tiger will come and eat you. So we need that stress response that is preparing us to run away. You know, it could be, now we don't have tigers luckily around us, but it could be a conflict, it could be a fight with someone, and you should know whether to fight or to move out of that or to run away. And that is what is important, that is when it is. But nowadays, because of our lifestyles, because we don't get enough sleep, because we are constantly stressed about kids, money, jobs and traffic, we are in a state of chronic stress. And constant release of that hormone doesn't then allow us to relax. Our body doesn't relax, it's in a constant state of stress. Okay, so again, what are the things that we can do is eat a whole food plant-based diet. Again, plant-based diet is very important. Do some physical activity, get some good sleep, and then mind-body practices like which will help lower the heart rate, blood pressure, mindfulness, yoga, breathing exercises, whatever else you can do. We are here in Brahmakumaris Center, you know, meditation. So you all should learn some form of meditation from sister. And it's very difficult to meditate, right? Most of us find it difficult to meditate. We think we should have a quiet place, we have 10 minutes or 15 minutes of quiet time to sit and meditate, and then when we sit, all sorts of thoughts come to our mind. So this, I always put this slide because this is a very, very simple technique, and if you do not take anything from here today, I want you to take this with you, because we are so stressed, we need some circuit breaker, and this is like a circuit breaker. You're sitting here right now, you don't need to be in a quiet place. All of you can just practice this deep breathing exercises, and what it does is so there are different types. You can Google, you can search, but this is a very simple one, so I just put it out here. You breathe for 4 seconds, you count 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, slow 4, you count, you breathe for that, you hold your breath for 4 count, and then you exhale for 4, then you hold again, and then you take the next breath. There's also the 4, 7, 8. So your exhalation has to be a bit longer and slower. जितना आप धीरे से ब्रेथ छोड़ सकते हो, उतना आपको calming down ये महसूस होगा. If you're wearing your Fitbits or anywhere where you know you can monitor your heart rate, you will see by doing this immediately your heart rate comes down. So it's like a circuit breaker. So whenever you feel anxious, कहीं पे भी है, exam में है, कहीं पे भी आप stress हो रहे हो, just try this. It's very, very important. Other thing is again, one of my most favorite slides is this circle of control. And what it means is there's this inner circle which is what is under my control. Okay, I think this is very important for women. You know, we get stressed about so many things, but what is under my control is myself, my words, my action, my habits, my goals, how I handle situations, how I talk to people. That is under my control. How everybody else will respond is not under my control at all. That is out of my control. So let go. Don't worry about what she says or he says or what he does or she does. Okay, and that is very important to keep yourself calm and reduce your stress in life. You know, weather kharab hai, Russia mein war, we can't do anything about this. So we are unnecessarily stressing about a lot of things. So we need to control that. Now, this is a very important slide again, which is the SMART goals. And what it means is, when you set your goals, when you set your lifestyle goals, this is a very simple and nice way of setting your goals, because they are clear, they are attainable, and they will keep you motivated, and they are small steps which you need to focus on. Okay, so it's an acronym which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic or relevant to your goal, and it is time bound. Alright, so I'll give a small example, and I want all of you, whoever wants to set up a goal for their health, to do it in this way for any pillar that you want, for your diet, for your physical activity, sleep, stress. So let's take the example of exercise for that matter. Say I want to set, see, there's no point saying कल से मैं exercise करने वाला हूँ, कल से मैं healthy eating start करने वाला. You will not, because you don't know what you're going to do. How are you going to do it? You know. So the way to do it is by setting this goal in this way. So say I'm doing 5,000 steps per day, but मेरा goal है 10,000 steps. Now if I tell a patient, when a patient comes to me who doesn't move a lot, who's sedentary, and I tell नहीं तुम कल से 10,000 steps करो, maybe for 2 days she'll be able to do it. It's very difficult to maintain. It's very difficult suddenly a person who doesn't exercise to tell them to do 10,000 steps a day. She may do it for 2 days and then नहीं कर पाएंगे, and then she'll be depressed, she'll feel guilty, she'll feel frustrated. So if you're doing 5,000 steps, now I'm going to make a SMART goal for myself. I'm doing 5,000 steps. For this next week, I'm going to do 1,000 steps more, just 1,000 steps more. I'm going to do 6,000 steps. And I can measure it because I'm wearing a Fitbit or I have a mobile phone with me. Is it achievable? Can I do 1,000 steps? Yes. एक दो चक्कर मार लिए फटाफट कहीं पे भी तो 1,000 steps हो जाएंगे. And it is relevant because I want to lose weight. It is relevant to my goal. Okay. And it is time. So I'm going to give myself 1 week. कि मैं आज सैटरडे है, मैं नेक्स्ट सैटरडे तक सिर्फ 1,000 एक्स्ट्रा स्टेप्स करने वाली हूँ, नॉट 10,000. आई एम नॉट गोइंग 10,000, आई एम डूइंग 5,000. आई एम गोइंग टू डू ओनली 1,000 steps. And then next Saturday I am going to evaluate, was I able to do it? Yes. Then I am going to increase. Similarly, if you're not eating a fruit, for example, I am going to eat 1 fruit a day for the next 7 days. That's all you need to remember and do. That is how you set your goals. Okay, and that way you will be able to achieve something. So the key takeaways from the talk I've finished is: eat fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, eat whole grains, avoid processed food, highly processed food, ultra processed food, maintain hydration. Now summertime especially, try and drink more water, maybe 2.5 liters, maybe even 3 liters. And again, morning exposure to morning sunlight is very important. Up to about 11 o'clock, 10 to 11 is probably the right time. Now if you have to have any vitamin, which is the most important, is vitamin D, and we get it free. We don't even have to spend hundreds of rupees to get the vitamin tablets. All you have to do is expose your body parts and sit in the morning sunlight for about 5 minutes every day for 5 days a week. That is good enough to make the vitamin. Your body will make the vitamin in your body. So that is all that is needed. And maintain a sustainable air. So this is all sustainable. You make small goals and that you can maintain for a long time, rather than going on a diet which you will not. A friend was doing watermelon diet and I was like, what is watermelon diet? You eat watermelon all day? I am like, okay, for how many days can you eat a watermelon? So you can't sustain those diets. It's okay for you want to lose weight for a wedding, you want to fit into that ghagra or whatever, and you want to achieve something, that's fine, but that's not sustainable. So make sustainable eating habits. Exercise regularly, get some good sleep, and try something to manage your stress, because that's sort of very important. So thank you. So if anyone has any questions. Yes, Varsha. No, so 7 to 8 hours is within 24 hours. So say in the night you get only 6 hours of sleep. You can take a nap in the afternoon for 1 hour. Okay. Most of the working women, or when you have children and you have to get up early in the mornings, or you have other things and you can't have 8 hours sleep, maybe 6 or 7 hours, you should get a good sleep, uninterrupted good sleep, deep sleep for 6 to 7 hours. And then if you feel, you can have a nap in the afternoon, and that is also okay. If it completes your, you have to feel fresh all throughout the day. So you need to rest when you feel tired, basically.
Correct. And one more question, that you told about ghee. It's the most like dangerous thing. But in the Indian food, we always prefer to put like not regularly. We put at least 1 or 2 spoons. Is it okay? Or we have to?
So that's the thing. No. So that's the thing. So ghee is saturated fat, as you saw. It's a lot of saturated fat. If you can avoid, you should avoid. And again, as I said, there are other special medicine this thing who would say that eat ghee is healthy and all of that. Ghee does have a very healthy component, which is the butyrate, which is again very important, but it has in such a small quantity that it's not worth eating ghee to get the butyrate from the ghee.
From where we'll get that?
So again, eating fruits and vegetables and all of that will all replenish everything that you have good in your body basically.
Okay.
So I would say that if you have a high risk, or if you have a family history of heart disease or stroke or high blood pressure, cholesterol, I would completely avoid ghee, okay, because saturated fat is the worst enemy. Sugar and saturated fat, two worst ingredients that can be there in the food.
Okay, thank you.
Nowadays we are taking stevia
Yes,
instead of sugar.
yes.
It is getting recorded.
Yeah, is stevia is it better than sugar?
Stevia is better than white sugar.
Yeah.
Because stevia comes from the stevia
Plant
leaves.
based.
Yeah, it's plant based.
Yeah.
But it comes from stevia leaves. What color
Yeah.
are the leaves?
Green.
Green.
Yeah.
What color are the minute tablets that you get from stevia? White. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think that's what we are actually eating?
Yeah.
No, we are not. Unless you get some of the things you get where there is a little powdery, or the leafy ones which you get. There are some brands. But what I mean to say is that it is processed to such a degree that we actually don't know what we are eating these days, isn't it? Because it's all processed. Everything that comes in a packet is processed.
But which
So
is better?
Stevia is better in that sense, because again it's plant based and it has it doesn't have calories.
Yeah.
So if you have to replace something,
Yeah,
best is
instead
to
of sugar.
avoid sugar.
Yeah.
If you have to replace something and you can't do without it, yes, stevia may be okay. But again, everything in moderation. Again, ghee in everything.
Yeah.
If you do too much of everything, then that's a very big problem.
Thank you.
See, again, this is a very important concept. What we think is we can eat what we want, okay? And when we will go, जैसे हमने समोसे खा लिया, अभी मैं जिम जा, you had this heavy meal, मैं जिम जाना चाहूँगा, calories will be burnt. Yes, your calories will be burnt. Okay, you had say 500 calories. You go and run for 2 hours, all those 500 calories are gone. But the harmful effect that those तला हुआ सैचुरेटेड फैट जो रहा होगा, उसके इफेक्ट्स जो आपके बॉडी पे होंगे वो तो होने वाले हैं. All you are doing by exercising is burning those calories. Sweat doesn't take fat out. No, it doesn't. Sweat is important when you're sweating. That means you're burning calories and all of that. But ऐसे तो sweat करते तो हम फिर बगैर फैन के बैठे रहते दिन भर, वैसे ही पतले हो जाते हम, है ना? So sweating, saunas, these are important because they detoxify us. Yes, all the harmful जो toxic elements रहते हैं जो develop होते हैं, they are released through sweat. But your fat is not kind of evaporating through sweat. It's not, okay? So that is very important concept to remember, that exercise will burn your calories. And yes, exercise is very, very important. जो मतलब obviously the one who exercises is much better than one who doesn't exercise. But that doesn't mean that whatever you eat is not going to have harmful effect on your body. What you eat will have its effect on its body. The calorie burning is a different thing. So there are two different things here we are talking about.
What is HFSS?
Highly processed food, so that is high fat, salt and sugar.
Thank you, Amrita. Your talk was so nice and insightful.
Thank you.
And I just want to know how many meals a day is,
What is it? Have to hold.
how many meals a day is good for a healthy lifestyle? आजकल बहुत चल रहा है, 2 meals are good. We are used to 4 meals also, too small and too big. So if you could tell, and this intermittent fasting, and do we start a day with fruits or salad, or good breakfast like king size queen and then like a pauper? So just let me know how you go about that.
So See, the traditional way of eating when we follow, if again limiting your portion sizes, you can have 3 meals, yeah, but you limit your portion size, and also what is included in that meal is important. So very good way of starting your day. Or so with every meal, the way I guide my patient, with every meal, like I said about the plate, right, the plants, the fruits and the vegetables, with every meal you have to have something raw. So you start your breakfast with an apple or a fruit, and then you have your idli, dosa or whatever. उसमें क्या हो जाता है कि because the fruit has a fiber content and it actually has a physical way in which it actually sits in your stomach and it causes fullness. तो आप जो 4 इडली खा रहे होंगे वो आप 2 ही खाएंगे बिकॉज आपने फ्रूट खाया हुआ है. एंड अगेन द इंसुलिन जो मैंने डिस्क्राइब किया फाइबर के बारे में, ऑल दोज बेनिफिट्स विल बी देयर. And with your meal you have a raw salad first. If you can't make a fancy salad, have cucumber or onions or tomatoes, have something first, and then you have your dal chawal or chapati roti, whatever you're eating. You can have 3 meals. You can I wouldn't suggest 4 meals at all, because once you have good amount of food in the 3, your breakfast, lunch and dinner, you don't really need to snack in between. If you feel hungry, have green tea or have nuts and seeds. आप इस तरह से आपका मैनेज कर लो, जैसे आपको 2 फ्रूट्स खाने हैं तो आप एक बीच में जब भूख लगती है 5 बजे 6 बजे आप एक फ्रूट खा लो तभी, so you arrange your daily food in that sort of way. Intermittent fasting is again a new buzzword in the medical field, and a lot of people are swearing by it, and a lot of doctors that I'm part of the groups are doing intermittent fasting, and intermittent fasting does work. Now all of us should maintain a fasting window of 12 hours. हमें एटलीस्ट हमारे डिनर और हमारे नेक्स्ट डे ब्रेकफास्ट के बीच में 12 घंटे का ब्रेक रहना चाहिए, एंड दैट इंक्लूड्स नॉट ईटिंग वाइल वॉचिंग नेटफ्लिक्स, नॉट अलाउड. पॉपकॉर्न, चिप्स एंड कोक इज़ नॉट अलाउड, दैट इज़ ऑल्सो ईटिंग. सो ये नहीं कि हमने डिनर कर लिया मैं ब्रेकफास्ट करूँ पर बीच में बहुत कुछ खा रहे हैं हम बैठ के, बिकॉज हमें खाना है पॉपकॉर्न तो खाना है काइंड ऑफ. सो मेंटेन अ 12-hour fasting window, and what fasting does is that it doesn't provide the way it works is if you have to burn your fat, you should not feed your body. If you're constantly eating, हमारा ब्लड शुगर मेंटेन हो रहा है हमारे ब्लड लेवल में, बिकॉज हम कॉन्स्टेंटली कुछ ना कुछ खा रहे हैं. हाउ विल द फैट बर्न? द फैट विल ओनली बर्न व्हेन देयर इज नो शुगर दैट वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग फॉर द बॉडी. सो व्हेन वी आर फास्टिंग वी आर अलाउिंग द फैट टू बर्न, एंड दैट इज़ हाउ आपका फैट मेल्ट होके आपका वेट लॉस होने वाला है. फैट लॉस तभी होने वाला है जब आप अलाउ करोगे कि आपके बॉडी को फीड नहीं करोगे. इसलिए इन दैट सेंस इंटरमिटेंट फास्टिंग इज़ गुड. बट अगेन यू कैन स्टार्ट विथ से 12 आवर्स तो मिनिमम विंडो रखनी है कि आपने 7 बजे डिनर कर लिया और 7 बजे ब्रेकफास्ट सपोज कर रहे हो. इफ़ यू कैन पुश इट इवन बेटर. So your black tea doesn't count necessarily as food because there's no milk in it and there's no sugar in it. So that is allowed, that is okay. You take green tea, black tea. तो आप 9 बजे फिर ब्रेकफास्ट कर लो तो आपके 14 आवर्स फास्टिंग हो गए. People.
So how can we reduce the stress? I mean, yeah.
See, that's why I put that area of control slide, right? So that is this. I think it's very important to remember this in that sense. We can't control everything, and we can only control. And the best part of this is that what is under my control is actually my thoughts. Okay, but is that under our control? नो. जैसे सिस्टर शिवानी बोलती है, उनके आपने अगर सुने होंगे सिस्टर शिवानी के कि यू गिव द रिमोट कंट्रोल टू समवन एल्स, इजंट इट? उसने मुझे इरिटेट किया, इसने मुझे गुस्सा दिलाया. It's like you've given your remote control to someone else. So what is important? You need to focus on yourself. If you want to talk to somebody, if you're driving, for example, if you're a working woman and you're driving, you make your calls while you're driving on the speaker, obviously not holding the mobile. Or if you're in the cab or you have a driver, you make these small changes. You have to be mindful of how you can include it. And as I said, deep breathing exercises is the best thing, and that's why again it is one of my most favorite slides, is some form of deep breathing exercise. Please practice. It doesn't need any. While you're driving, you're sitting in the you're sitting at the signal, you're all stressed, itna time lag raha hai, 15 minutes signal pe baithe hai hum. You can practice this. You don't need to, you don't need to even close your eyes for that. All you need to do is just be aware of your breathing. Take deep breaths, look at your belly going up and down maybe. So this, it's a circuit breaker, and this is science, because when we are stressed, our sympathetic nervous system is going into play. The cortisol, heart rate is going to be high, your blood pressure may be high, your breathing is going to be faster. And what this does is it breaks that. It puts you into another system, parasympathetic nervous system. They are opposite of each other. They can't exist together. When you're deep breathing and you're doing it right, you're slowly exhaling, your breathing cannot be fast. It cannot be, because they are opposite systems. When this closes, this goes, and this goes, that cannot work together. So very important. So you go on YouTube maybe, and the other breathing better than this. I put this for ease because this is very easy for people to follow. 4-7-8 breathing jo rehti hai, where you take 4 minutes, 4 count of 4. You take a breath, you hold it for 7, and you exhale for 8 seconds or 8 counts, and that is much more effective as well. So your long exhale. So learn those things. Even when you're in the office, you can sit in the toilet and do it. If you don't have, you're frustrated and there's no place where you want to just scream. Don't scream. You can't do anything in the office. Maybe go to the washroom, sit and breathe, and that will break the cycle for you. It will not suddenly reduce your stress or take your problems away, but it will break the cycle. It's all about learning how to cope. Some form of meditation if you can do. Sister teaches a lot of, as she said, meditation courses, and that will help you in the long run to calm your minds. Journaling helps, gratitude helps. Just being grateful for whatever you have just shifts your focus. It's like we're complaining about this, that, but just being grateful every day. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for before sleeping, or maybe first thing in the morning. Say your little prayer and be grateful for whatever you have. Yeah.
Also, how can we improve our emotional intelligence? Because sometimes there are so many people who speak very fastly as well. I mean, that
Again.
is one of the way I
Again, that's why you take a picture of this. This is where you have to work. You just have to. It's. I put it here doesn't mean I have mastered it, but I remember the slide all the time. Because when you will get, we are human beings, we will get angry, sometimes we will get irritated, somebody crosses us, cuts us across in the traffic, and we are like, But then we have to remember this, is that under my control? What is under my control? My thoughts are under my, how can I control? And this is very important. There's another circle in between the 2 circles, which is the circle of influence, that you get influenced by, you will influence other people around you, and you will get influenced by other people around you. I haven't put it, but this is a very simplified version, and what it says is that you are under control. You can only control your own body and mind. Do not give your remote control to anybody else. मैंने लगा दिया, आप irritate हो गए, आप angry हो गए. So you have to keep going back to this. And then there is another theory, which is the let them be theory, which is Mel Robbins is one of the Hollywood stars, and she's written this book, which is very good. Let them be. Your husband is not doing something which you want him to do. Let them. I let him not do it. It's okay. He doesn't want to do it. I will do what I want to do, kind of thing. It's easy said than done, but you have to follow this thing. If people don't want to do it, let them not do it. You can maybe suggest, you can tell, but if they don't want to do, that's fine. It's not in your hands, and it's not your place to so you have to let go of the control of the things that you are obviously not in control. Everything else around you, you're not in control, right? Now yesterday it was raining. No, it's not in control. Now you went out without an umbrella, you got wet. You can't be irritated, right? Because that's not under my control. You just enjoy the rain and come back, right? So, Sunita, you had some question? Yeah.
Let them.
This is a small question, ma'am. I just have a doubt, we are suggested sometimes that we have to take milk products and all those things. But on the other hand, also we sometimes suggested that milk and milk products it's not so healthy. So there is some contradiction in these 2 things. So can you make it little bit clear about this, ma'am?
Yes. So when you, as I mentioned about the whole food plant-based, like milk product, again you have to avoid all sorts of animal products, and that includes milk products as well. Now human beings are the only, so who produces milk? Who? No, like who? So a mother produces milk, right? The mother produces milk for their baby, and human beings are the only species on the planet who drink other animals' milk. We don't need it. And about 70 to 80% of human beings are lactose deficit. They don't have the enzyme to break down that milk because it's there in the beginning. So after 5 years it decreases the amount of lactase that is there, which breaks down the lactose in our body. And that's why all these problems are, when you have bloating, you know, अजीब सी चीज़ें होती रहती है, पेट खराब रहता है या, and that could be because you are actually lactose intolerant. You don't have the enzyme or you're deficit in the enzyme. So that is one thing. The other thing is the milk that we are getting these days, the cows are being given antibiotics, you know, they're being given growth hormones. We see how early puberty in young girls, you know, the antibiotics that are there, that is destroying our gut bacteria. And if you want it for calcium, you can get calcium from so many other sources. Ragi is a rich source, till is a rich source of calcium, beans, dals, pulses, green leafy vegetables. So you can get all of that from it. So it is not necessary to give milk or drink milk, give milk to our children or drink milk, cows, buffaloes or whatever it is. Yes, because you can get what you get from the milk, you can get from other things as well, yes.
Excellent, doctor. You said the sleeping timing should be around 7 to 8 hours.
Yes.
See, what are the timing? Nowadays the children sleep around 12 and get up in the morning 8.
Yes, very bad. That's all I can say. It's really, really bad when you can't do anything. They have their own ways. So yes, it is not the right way to do. So again, going back to the, you know, the circadian rhythm of our body, sunrise, sunset, and similarly, our body has rhythm as well, but we are not following that. That's, as I said, you know, it's.
And you said to get the vitamin D,
Yes.
expose it to the sun.
Yes.
5 to 10 minutes a day, is it okay?
Yes.
And what is the timing? You said 10 o'clock, is it?
Around, so before, it should not be very hot because the rays and all, we have to be careful about that. So around 11 o'clock, 10 to 11 o'clock is good time, before 12 o'clock in the afternoon, because then, you know, and 5 to 10 minutes, if you start feeling, जैसे चटका लगने लगा है, तो then you should stop. You know, you should not let your skin get burnt. You have to stop then. सुनीता से लगता, हाँ.
घी में सैचुरेटेड फैट्स होता है,
क्या चीज़?
घी के
हाँ,
अंदर
हाँ,
जैसे, तो क्या काऊ घी या जो आजकल ऑर्गेनिक घी है या फिर ये बिलौना मेथड है, वो ठीक है? कैन वी यूज दैट?
See, organic में क्या होता है कि the cows are fed on a grass feed and you know they are maintaining some के antibiotics नहीं दे रहे वगैरह ऐसे कुछ है, organic feed दे रहे cow को, but the composition of ghee is going to remain the same. It's still going to have high saturated fatty acids, because that is the nature of the ghee.
नहीं, जैसे लेबल पे लिखा होता है कि it's
Don't tell me they say it's fat free, because then that's like you need to
less
sue them.
saturated fats, less saturated fats.
Less than what? जैसे मैंने परसों बिस्किट में देखा, less fat than less fat than what? Like, you know, they just, that's what it is, isn't it? Less saturated fat than what? Then maybe the other brand of the ghee, which is equally bad, isn't it? Everything is bad basically.
So whether cow or buffalo ghee is not.
Ghee has a lot of saturated fatty acids, so you know, if you can avoid it, you should really avoid it. Or take it in a, see again, everything in moderation, you know, that's the thing, you know, कि ऐसे नहीं कि आप चम्मच घी खा रहे हो, 10 चम्मच घी खा लिए दिन में, सारी चीज़ें घी में ही बना ली. So that is the reason. And the other reason, when you know, when lot of vegetarians say, oh, I don't know, मेरा cholesterol कैसे high हो गया, because milk and milk products are animal products, isn't it? Eventually, they all have saturated fatty acids. Like milk जो consume करते हैं, butter, ghee, what is that called? The cheese, and जो butter आता है ना, वो मक्खन जो होता है, जो घी का जो villages में जो मक्खन बनता है, that's all saturated fatty acids. So that's why even vegetarians have high cholesterol. They have, you know, all these problems. Curd का एक ही चीज़ होता है, जैसे even though it is a milk product, because it is fermented, It has the goodness of it's a probiotic, so it has a goodness. Even cheese for that matter has a little, because it's a little fermented. So if you think about it, and if curd is made with not with full fat milk, use semi-skimmed or skimmed milk for that. So then ठीक है, because at least it's.
Cholesterol is also hereditary.
Yes, it can be. Yes.
Can be that also.
Yes, it could. Yes. So that's the thing. तो मैंने जो डाला था स्लाइड में कि जेनेटिक फैक्टर्स भी रहते हैं, बट ये नहीं है कि अरे मेरे तो फैमिली में ही है, आई एम डूम्ड, डायबिटीज एंड ब्लड प्रेशर तो रन्स इन माय फैमिली, कि कुछ करेंगे नहीं, चलो यार खा पी लो, वैसे ही होना है. No, when you have that, and when you have a tendency, or you have a high risk, or you have a family history, you have to work harder for that. कि तुम्हें तो जेनेटिक फैक्टर्स तो ऑलरेडी है, तो यू डोंट ऐड ऑन टू दैट घी एंड शुगर एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट एंड मेक योर ससेप्टेबिलिटी मोर. यू नीड टू वर्क हार्डर देन समबडी हु डजंट हैव अ जेनेटिक प्रीडिस्पोजिशन फॉर दैट. ठीक है ना?
Some portion of the ghee is required, right, for our joints
No,
and
no,
knees and all.
no
Why?
amounts of extra fat, added fat in terms of oil or ghee are needed, because if you eat healthy food, you will get everything. If you eat nuts and seeds have they are all rich in omega-3. What is omega-3? It is a fatty acid.
Right.
That will take care of your of all your whatever cushioning and joints and all of
But
that.
sometimes for kids it is good, right? Ghee and all.
It's not needed.
Right.
It is not necessary. You give them good food, good fruits and vegetables. Focus on that, and nuts and seeds, and you will get all the ingredients, micronutrients, nutrients. You will get from that.
Correct.
And one more thing, what about the nuts?
Yeah, sorry.
The nuts, they have to be taken in the morning, not in the evenings.
No, nothing like that. You can take nuts. Again, nuts
What
are
about the
very
millets
high.
also? Millets also. They say that
See, take whatever suits you in the way it suits you, because everybody's body is different.
Yeah.
Some people can't take certain beans. जैसे चना है, किसी को नहीं सूट करता है,
No.
don't eat it. Yeah, so whatever suits your body, whichever way. Some people can eat, जो भी है at whatever time, and they're fine with it. Some people can't digest it. So listen to your body. You don't have to do anything specifically. You include it in the way that will suit your body and the way you can manage.
Yeah. Thank you.
Again, nuts are very high in calories, so don't binge eat nuts. ऐसे नहीं कि
You have to soak them and
yes, you soak them for 7 to 8 hours. Almonds and walnuts, you throw away the water and then you consume it.
इस सेशन के रिकॉर्डिंग बाद में अवेलेबल हो जाएगी जो
Any more?
Any questions? Is it healthy to sleep
Post lunch.
See, again, it's the same thing. You don't have to sleep. There's no necessary. It's not a necessity to sleep after lunch. Okay, you can, if say you don't get enough sleep in the night, you can sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, or you feel tired, or a little power nap is going to charge you up for the rest of the day, do it. But the thing with that is that when you sleep, your systems are slowing down, so your digestion may slow down, and then later you may have a little bit of a problem. Yes.
A normal meal, we can have a normal meal lunchtime.
Yes.
The nuts and other thing we can have in the dinner time.
Yes.
Because mixing both may be sometimes difficult.
Yes, yes.
Nuts, vegetable and all that.
Yes.
So that can be done.
Yes. You can eat whenever it suits you. You can also have just nuts, not salted. When you're hungry in the evening, you want it as a snack, just have a handful of nuts, walnuts and almonds. That's fine as well. Or you can include it with your breakfast for that matter.
Okay, thank you.
So you also mentioned to avoid meat, right?
Yes.
So most of the people nowadays have vitamin B12 deficiency.
Yes, very
so
good question.
where do you get
Yes.
that from?
That's a very good question, and thank you for that, because I forgot to mention about the vitamin B12. Those who are having vegetarian food or vegans will be deficit in vitamin B12, and they need to take a supplement. There's no other way of, or you can have fortified foods, like your cereals will come with vitamin B12, some of the cereals will be fortified, but best is to take a supplement, so you will not get vitamin. See, again, actually the B12 is actually not in the animal products. It is because they're eating the soil filled food. you know, so they're actually getting it from the soil, but because we clean everything so much, you know, we don't get it nowadays. So it is actually, it's not in the meat. So the animals are eating the soiled, whatever they're eating, plants, and that's then stored in their bodies, and that's how we are getting it from the animal foods if we're eating animal foods. But for those who are not eating, you need to take a supplement. Vitamin B12 supplement is necessary. So 3 most important things, again, vitamin D, which is free, obviously sunlight is free, sit in the sun and get your vitamin D. B12, if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, you need to take a vitamin B12 supplement. And omega-3s are very important. So if you're having nuts and seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, all your nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds and all of that will give you omega-3 and zinc and magnesium. So those things are covered. So only thing you have to then focus on is vitamin B12.
Supplements contains non-veg products?
Yes, some of them may contain, yes.
Om Shanti. Amrita, can you please throw light on the importance of magnesium these days? A lot of going on for magnesium for better sleep, good sleep, quality of sleep. Can you please throw
So
light?
magnesium is again magnesium and zinc, very important micronutrients. You know, we always talk about vitamin, B vitamin, all of us know B vitamin, and then when we have cold we take C vitamin. But magnesium and zinc are very important micronutrients, and magnesium is necessary for good sleep. Magnesium is necessary for your muscle strength. You know, when you have muscle aches and pains after gymming or anything, magnesium will help in that. Also, if you're suffering from anxiety or depression, magnesium again works wonders. So it is again a very important micronutrient, and along with zinc, women who have PCOS, that is one of the most important micronutrients. So yes, you will get it from again nuts and seeds. If you have a whole food plant-based diet with variety, again variety is important. Not कि मैं 10 साल से apple ही खा रही हूँ. So include a variety. We are very fortunate that we do have a variety of fruits and vegetables. We get it everywhere, mandi mein, pure and natural, wherever else, Zepto, Blinkit. So include a variety that will diversify your gut microbiomes, and that will give you all the micronutrients. You don't actually need to take any supplements other than obviously B12 if you're on a vegetarian diet, but otherwise you get everything from the food if you follow a good diet. Seasonal fruits, yes, and that is very important, seasonal fruits, it's there. See, the nature is there for us, they come in certain seasons, and that's how you eat them in those seasons. And not too many mangoes because they're coming, because they're very high in sugar and calories. So just while doctor ne bola kha lo mango. Protein supplements are bad. I never prescribe protein supplements. Again, if you have a good diet, you will get all your protein from this. If you're working out in the gym and building muscle and all that, you may need supplements. But again, it's the same thing, right? The processed food the industry is such that there was an article recently where you don't know what's in the powder. It's contaminated. There is maybe lead or chromium, or you don't know if it is. It actually has the protein that it's saying it has. Also important to see the serving size. That is also a part where it is. Yes, there will be lots of proteins, but again, if you are eating healthy, you don't really need to, but you have to be careful, you have to be mindful of what all you are eating. Skincare? Gummies. Again, honestly, I don't know what's in those gummies. There was I think it was last year when the cough syrup had some poisonous, and you would imagine how can a company put a toxic substance in a cough syrup which is going to be which the children are going to have. So you can imagine what the other companies, or we can't trust anything, and the pharmaceuticals are sprouting like mushrooms everywhere. So we don't know what is in it, to be very honest. And again, when you read it, you will see how many preservatives have been added in it. Just eat healthy, everything. Now these are, our grandmother used to have such beautiful hair, and at 90 she had beautiful skin and hair, isn't it? But we are just eating a lot of processed food. Again, cut down on your sugar first. For all sorts of things, cut down on your sugar, or for your skin, for your hair, Worst come for skin or hair, if you're worried, you can take a vitamin E supplement. You know, if you think you're not, you know, if it's very brittle or you're having hair fall, vitamin E works.
So shall we wind up? So thanks a lot
Thank
for
you.
such a scintillating, euphonious and interactive and informative session.
Thank you, sister.
So thank you.
Thank
so
you very much.
Dr.
And thank you for
Amreeta
all the
ji.
interaction. Thank you for patiently listening, all of you.
Om Shanti.